Hello everyone, my name's Mike, aka Long Box Diver, a longtime comic book reader and collector. Welcome to my latest video. This one is about, it's a haul video. It's actually going to be broken up into several parts. A local comic book shop, Elite Comics, they do a once a year an annual event, which they hadn't done in the last few years because of COVID, but this year they brought it back, and it was their 29th anniversary comic book event. And they put out, they had it at the local suburban convention center, and they advertised 75,000 dollar bin books, over 20,000 Silver Age books, and then they had hundreds of graphic novels, and they had tables of board games for sale, and they even had, I think it was an outside vendor that came in and even had a few tables set up of vinyl. And what this comic book company, this comic book shop does is their big charity that they do is they do a toy drive every year. And so they have a show that's usually like end of September or sometime in October, and it's to raise funds for a toy drive that they do, for toys for underprivileged kids for Christmas. Everybody gets a gift. So the money also went to a good cause. So anyway, a friend of mine that you may know from Twitter goes by Kirby Crackle. He and I went to the show this year, and we did a big haul. They were doing a long box deal where you could go through their long boxes and just fill it up, their dollar bins, fill up a full long box for $100. And so Kirby Crackle and I split the box. So like I said, it's a huge haul. That's why I'm gonna break it up into a couple different videos, because I came home with 171 different comics. And then on their graphic novel table, they were doing a deal where you could get 5 graphic novels for $20. So I found 5 graphic novels that I got for $20. So basically picking up a whole graphic novel for the price of like a regular current comic. Excuse me. So anyway, this first video is going to be kind of more random stuff that I picked up, because I did pick up a lot of particular characters and runs that I was interested in, different comic book publishers and things like that. But I'm a big Robert E. Howard fan. I read a lot of Conan, and so I've never heard of this Cormac. So when I came across this is some early Dark Horse comics from 1990, and it's a 4-issue miniseries, and I actually was able to pick up all 4 of them. So, kind of going back to the deal, I filled up a little bit more than my half of the comic of the long box. So I ended up at 171 comics, and then my cut, my portion of the box was $60. So all the comics that you're going to be seeing in this haul, I spent a little over 30 cents per comic. So, a really good deal. It's just more about the idea of where am I going to find the time, to read all of this. It's probably going to take me into next year to get through all this books that I've picked up, and also kind of keep up on my pull list as I'm doing it. So this first books that I'm showing here, like I said, this is Cormac, a Robert E. Howard character. And so I'll just show you some of this. It's black and white interiors. I think the artwork is really great. looks like a, let's adjust that light a bit. Make sure this is, all right. So just to give you an idea of the art, like it says black and white, but which I like black and white. I prefer a well done black and white comic to a poorly colored comic any day. But to give you an idea of some of the art in here, I think it's really well done. So this is, like I said, Cormac. And one of the other things that's kind of fun is kind of looking at the ads and kind of seeing the era. And I think that's a really great Aliens versus Predator ad there, you know, in the back of this book. So those are always kind of fun to get into that. So that's issue number 1. Great painted covers. It's written by Roy Thomas, who's done pretty, you know, most of the Marvel run of, the first Marvel run of Conan, doing the writing credits on that. And then the artist is E.R. Cruz. I'm not all that familiar with, so he may be somebody I need to dig into more. Like I said, I think this art's really solid. So that's the first 2 of that series. Just to finish off the series we're talking about here. That's what the 3rd cover looks like. And here's what the 4th one looks like. And like I said, talking about the artist is the same inside. So kind of give you an idea, you know, some more shots of the interior covers. Kind of talking about, you know, getting the flavor of what's happening at the time. You know, here's a full page ad in the back for a Frank Miller comic. I saw another ad in here that I thought was really kind of interesting. Like I said, it's kind of fun to look at the ads and kind of get the flavor of the times. Now that I've said it, I'm not going to be able to find the ad I'm looking for. But I got a big kick out of it when I found it the first time. I'm probably going to read this tonight. Oh, this is the one. It's like, how often do you see, you know, a black and white Simpsons ad, early Simpsons, Fox TV, coming soon? So I thought I got a big kick out of that, seeing that. So that's the first series that I thought I'd show off in this video. And this one's going to be a lot of random stuff, but I figure I'd come across, try to group things together. So, you know, talking about Robert E. Howard, this is another one of his characters. I'll have to dig up the rest of this, but Solomon Kane. So that's a 1-in-6 limited series. So I thought that would be great. You know, I read he popped up in some of the stuff in this last go around of Marvel, and then the last one from the Robert E. You know, from the Conan the Barbarian type characters, Red Sonja. And that's the first one of the 2-issue comic book adaptation from the movie from the 80s. As you can tell, Conan, the Schwarzenegger Conan. Another big pickup that I got a big kick out of. It's kind of funny. It's like I didn't even realize until I started unbagging these for this video, is that this is a 4-issue miniseries. This is Pete Bagge, best known for Hate. And this is Dark Horse miniseries Reset. And like I said, I didn't even notice it until I started pulling these out for the video. There was 2 in the bag. So I originally thought I got number 1 and number 3 for the series, and that I would have to dig around and, find it on eBay or, just rooting around later to find 2 and 4. But they were 2 comics to a bag. So I actually got the whole thing, the whole mini series, just in this one hunt. So that's cool. Black and white. So give you a little idea of some of that Pete Bagge goodness. So that's the first issue. Second issue. I'm sure most of you that are watching my videos are well acquainted with him and know his art style. But I give you a little bit of a look in, just in case you haven't. And so it's always great when you can find the whole set. So that's issue 3 and issue 4. And you can tell from the bottom, this is from 2012. So little Peter Bagge. Those are going to be fun to read. I've never read Reset. So another thing that I came across, and like when you're just digging in an event like this, I have my phone with me, the CLZ app, and I have ideas of things that I'm looking for, but you're just kind of going with what you find. And there's different artists that I look for, different characters. Might be a particular publisher. If I see something I don't have, that I grab. So I end up with great deals, and it's stuff that I want, but it isn't necessarily, like, there might be things that I hang on to for a while, while I try to get the rest of the run, especially if it's a mini series. Before I get into, sitting down and reading. So another artist that I really enjoy, and I grab up his stuff whenever I come across it, is Eric Powell. This is an Image title, Big Man Plans, which I've never heard of. I don't know when this came out. Or maybe a year on the cover here. Looks like this is 2014. So, but I really love his style. He's best known for The Goon, and which was published. It's been published through Dark Horse, and he also has his own publishing title called Albatross. So you can see it from there, from either of those. I was reading a lot of Goon, I'd say like at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And what I had is I got my hands on his compilation called Bunch of Old Crap. I have number 1 and number 2. So I like his art style a lot. And I also he just has a feel, like it's just very, I would say, Americana, and it's got I don't know, I would say you get a feel for maybe the 1920s, it kind of feels like Depression era, and like I said, Americana, American folklore. Another one of his series that I like a lot that I don't think has gotten enough attention is his series called Hillbilly. So if you haven't seen that, I would highly suggest checking it out. So that's Eric Powell's Big Man Plans. And like I was saying before, he's best known for The Goon. So I did come across a copy of The Goon that I didn't have before. And, so I grabbed it up. But that's kind of a great splash page there. Kind of give you an idea of his style and then the types of things that he likes to draw. Enjoy that a lot. But yeah, that's The Goon. That's his most famous character. And this looks like, this is the last thing I have from Eric Powell. This is his imprint, his comic company, publisher Albatross. And again, this has Eric Powell, but it has a lot of other artists also in here. So this is, I'd say, a compilation of a lot of different short stories. So, and I don't know if this is, because I remember seeing this on New Comic Book Day a couple years ago. This might actually be the New Comic Book Day comic. But yeah, I really like the fake ads here in the back. And those excuse me, those characters are also really great designs. But yeah, so Eric Powell, definitely somebody, if you're not familiar with him, definitely somebody worth checking out. Let's see. Like I said, I kind of grab up a lot of random stuff. So from watching, I think Comic Crack, I think, is somebody who talks a lot about Aircel. Is not a publisher that I was at all familiar with. So when I came across this and I saw Aircel on it, I snatched it up, kind of get a better idea of what Aircel's about. Because I think Loading the Cannon, I think, has also talked about Aircel too. But yeah, so I just grabbed this up strictly because of the Aircel title on it. Another character I don't come across too often, but I do like, is Atomic Robo. He's sort of a steampunk technology type of character. It's always done very humorously. It's always a lot of fun reading through an Atomic Robo comic. Like I said, I pick it up because of I always enjoy the humor. So, but yeah, and I don't have too much Atomic Robo, but like whenever I come across it in the dollar bins, I grab them up. It looks like this character's been done through lots of different publishers. And it looks like the current publisher is Red 5. All right, this next comic's gonna date me a bit. I grabbed it up because when I was a little kid, I was a Speed Racer fan. I really liked the Speed Racer fan cartoon, and it was always interesting whenever Racer X showed up, because he was mysterious. You didn't really know what was going on. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? He was always kind of a villain, but he was always just really a really cool character. I thought he was just really neat. And that's Racer X right there. You can see, like his mask and the X in it. So I may have to figure out a way to dig up the rest of this Racer X and see what this whole story is. So that was kind of more of a nostalgia pickup for me. Like I said, when you're paying about 30 cents a comic, you're gonna you're gonna grab a lot of different things just to give them a try, just to test out new stuff. It's a great way to broaden your horizons and what comic books can give you, what's out there. So that's Racer X from Now Comics. Another comic book that I picked up I've never heard of, and that is Captain Paragon. Great cover. I really enjoy this cover a lot. And this is a comic book company, publisher I've never heard of. It's called Americomics. So this is another black and white one. So if anybody knows anything about Captain Paragon or Americomics, leave me a message on my, down in the comments. So I always like to find out more about, these small companies that I missed back in the day. I think I've mentioned this before, at least on my Twitter feed. I don't know if I've talked about it in my videos, but I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I grew up watching Doctor Who. I had friends that had the whole collection on videotape. They had just, it would be on our PBS station late on Sunday nights, and they would just, record it off the television, and we would be passing the videotapes around to, watch all the different episodes of Doctor Who. So this is mid-'80s Doctor Who. This is Peter Davidson's Doctor Who. And so when I saw these, I snatched those up. So I'll be putting together a run of Doctor Who, Marvel Doctor Who. I don't think it's a very long run, but that should be fun. It should be a lot of fun for me to go through. I still occasionally will watch like the old Doctor Who's, and I'm still a fan and watch the new stuff too. So there's 2 issues of that I found. Nice pickup. These things, I don't think these things have ever been read. These are really immaculate copies. So the artist it's the artist writer that's on this one. I believe his name is, I'm looking it up here, Steve Parkhouse. Another thing I like to grab, when I'm kind of digging through the cheap bins like this, is I like to get the old, like the early anime stuff that's being done, usually by Viz. This looks like it's Viz and Eclipse. So I grab these copies of Kamui when I come across them. The artwork's amazing. Just open that up. I mean, like, look at the sharks. This is, but yeah. The artist on this is, this artist is very good. I am missing the name. Sanpei Shirato. I am probably butchering the pronunciation, but so I'm slowly putting together a run of Kamui. I think the artwork in this is pretty amazing. Another one that I grab up when I come across it. Again, this is Viz, early. This is Urasawa, who's a big name in anime, in manga. But this is called, I think this is a great cover too, Pineapple Army. A much different style, a much cartoonier style than Kamui. But yeah, So I'm slowly branching out into manga too, getting to know manga a little bit better. There's just so much great art. It's great artists working in manga, and so the stuff that I've read, I've been really impressed with. But I am definitely way behind on the manga train. This is Mature Readers, 80s DC. Never heard of Cinder and Ash, but I thought that was interesting, you know, getting something that's a DC kind of branching out into something a little different than your typical superhero fare. That's a great splash page. A little on the violent side, of course. Like I said, Mature Readers, but it's very well done. I like that a lot. So, it was a four-part mini-series. I'm going to have to dig up the other three. That was all I found. This is the only Drawn and Quarterly book that I came across that I grabbed up. Peep Show. So, I am not familiar with Joe Matt, but I think there's definitely some Pete Bagge influence there. So this will be interesting to look into and kind of see what this story is about. So that's a Drawn and Quarterly one. Joe Matt's Peep Show. It's a really heavy cardstock cover. Looking for a year on it. 1995. It looks immaculate. Something I also always grab when I come across it. I pick up Tank Girls. So came across this issue of Tank Girl. I think it looks really good on the toned papers, on the toned paper, you know. And then they throw in some different textures in there. I think the artwork's great, and the color's really good. So that's Tank Girl. Looks like an advertisement for, you know, one of the compilations. This is always great. I grabbed this because I'm a fan of Ryan Ferrier. This is another guy that I think does very funny comics, and I had all of the first mini-series of Dave. This is all put out by IDW. Dave, and then there's Dave 2, and then they came out with the third one called Daveocracy, which I somehow missed the third issue. I had, you know, I think it's just 4-issue run, and it was in my pull box, or it was on my pull list, and yeah, I just somehow missed it. So, kind of a futuristic, I don't know if you'd say post-apocalyptic, but, you know, definitely not a great future for the humans in this book. But yeah, like I said, very funny. He also did another mini series I got as a graphic novel that I really liked. It was if you're a dog person, you would really like it, and it's called the. I'm having problems remembering it now. It's like the County Pound Blues. You know, it's sort of like a dog prison story. I'll have to look that up. Like I said, I know I'm butchering the name. Something else I was looking for while I was at this show is I've really enjoyed all the first comics, anything put out by this publisher that I've read so far. I've never heard of First Adventures. This looks like they give you little, 8-page stories of a couple of their characters. And so that's Whisper on the cover, the Ninja comic that they put out. And then it looks like they also have Dynamo Joe, which I've read. I've seen some of his stuff, or of that character. And then Blaze Barlow, who I've never heard of. So it'll be interesting to go through this and kind of figure out Blaze Barlow, and if that's somebody else I want to dig into. There's the beginning of the Dynamo Joe storyline in the book. So I grabbed a lot of first comics. That most of those I'm going to show in another video. I got some real big runs of stuff from them. So this one's kind of more, random comics. Just a couple here and there of different things. This is another black and white comic from the 80s, I believe. This is Blackthorn Publishing, Street Wolf. This was published in 1986. So, idea of another black and white artwork in that. So it'll be interesting. I don't know anything about Blackthorn Publishing or Street Wolf comic, but it's the first #1, so it's a good starting point. We'll see how many, research that a bit, see how many Street Wolves they put out. I always grab Swamp Things when I come across them. That's another character I like. I do enjoy my horror comics. So, not so unusual. Kind of like I said, Swamp Thing, kind of a big character for DC. One of the big two. Let's get this. Oh, I still have this bagged. I don't come across this guy very often, but whenever I do, I grab him. I like the stuff that he makes a lot, and that is this Matt Howarth. And so I found a copy. I didn't have this one. I only have a few of these, but Savage Henry. Music for Arsonists. So, give you an idea of the artwork. This looks a little different than other Savage Henrys that I've came across. To give you some idea of his artwork. So I like those Annoying Post Brothers. Like I said, Savage Henry. He's done some other things too, but those are the two titles that I think of when I think of Matt Howarth. That's a Rip-Off Press. So, and I like those covers where, I'm a big fan of limited color palette. So this is just yellow, red, and orange, with some pink, just definitely kind of sticking with an analogous color scheme. I think that works out really well. I think that's a strong cover. It really pops. And then I think for this video, I'm going to end on this one. Last but definitely not least, this is a comic book artist I like a lot. I don't think he gets enough attention. And that is Farrell Dalrymple. And this is the first issue of a 10-issue series called Omega the Unknown. I don't know what I would say Farrell Dalrymple's art style is. It's almost children's book. I would say like his stuff could really work well for children's books. But he does comics. One of my favorite series that he did, the artwork in it is amazing. Is called Pop Gun War, and it's like I said, it's a really amazing artwork in that book. And, you know, so like that's, you know, that's another one of his books. This is just a trade paperback. But yeah, you'll see him pop up from, you know, every so often in image books. So I think this is put out by Marvel. I think he kind of toned down his art style a little bit for Marvel, but it's still really strong. I think he still has, even in this kind of toned down version, you know, still has a pretty expressive line. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. This is a good start. This is my first video for the Elite's 29th anniversary comic bash haul that I did. I hope you enjoyed my my video and saw a lot of interesting things that you might want to check into. You know, leave me any comments. You have any information for me further on some of the stuff I talked about? I would love to hear it. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, and keep on reading. Bye.